Alright, time for my favorite weapon category, the Magnums. And the first one is the Model 329. Small but extremely powerful Magnum, great for tight situations. And you get this Magnum in Claire's campaign. Uh-oh. Alright, let's test it out. Classic revolver action there. I love it. Alright, I'm going to take a little risk here. I'm going to test all the Magnums on Mutant Pedro. Hopefully I have enough ammo in order to do so. So let's test the Model 329 on Mutant Pedro. Alright, so I fired a total of 16 rounds, 14 of which directly hit Pedro. The other two, one was a miss, and the other one hit and afflicted first. But I know Magnum rounds have piercing abilities, so I'm pretty sure it hit Pedro as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say 15 shots to defeat Pedro with the Model 329. And that's if you don't get a headshot or hit any of his mutated eyes on his body. Because the proper way to defeat Pedro is to destroy those eyes. So I basically just gave you the maximum amount of Magnum shots I could take if you don't hit his eyes. Unless you're stupid and go for his legs. Alright, well, that is it for the Model 329. Alright, now for the next Magnum, the Python. High caliber Magnum, Barry's favorite. Powerful, but ammo is scarce. Highly versatile and easy to customize. So this Magnum can only be used in Barry's campaign, and it's definitely Barry's personal Magnum. Just look at it. It's modeled exactly like the Magnum from Resident Evil Remake. And the Magnum he uses in his melee move, Miranda Rights. Alright, let's test the Python out. So the reload speed is actually pretty fast. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's test the Python out on Mutant Pedro.
This is what happens to him.
Alright, so I had to do more than one test, specifically because 22 Magnum shots isn't enough to defeat Pedro if you don't hit any of his weak spots. It just isn't enough, so this Magnum is definitely the weakest Magnum in the game. But on a separate test, I did hit his eye, I think twice, and that was just enough to defeat him with all 22 shots. So I don't have enough Magnum ammo to show you how many Python shots it would take to defeat him without hitting any of his weak spots. But it doesn't matter too much because you're most likely not going to miss his weak spots every single time if you're trying to defeat him. Now I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to show you how much of a difference it makes when you hit his head instead of his torso.
This is what happens to him.
Alright, so that shows right there. I saved like 7 Magnum shots just going for the head. A couple of them were misses, but that's okay. That lowered the time of the fight dramatically, just going for his head. Now, if you defeat all of his eyes, that kills him instantly, and that will save you probably the most amount of ammo. Now it's time for my Magnum tradition to do an explosive headshot on a standard enemy. Now, normally, I use the most powerful Magnum in the game, but for this one, I'm just going to use Barry's Magnum, because I have a charge shot ability on it, and who better to do an explosive headshot than Barry Burton In Resident Evil 1, the original, his first use of the Magnum in gameplay was to explode a zombie's head. So this is perfect. And the fact that I have the charge shot. And I did the same thing in Revelations 1. I used the charge shot ability to do the explosive headshot. So I'm just going to do it here and now with the Python. So here we go for the explosive headshot. Headshot! Alright, that is it for the Python.
I'll always need you. But for now, I have this. Come at me, she-wesker!
Now for the last regular Magnum, the 2005 M. One of the most powerful Magnums, difficult to reload and limited customization. This has a lot more firepower than the Python, and it even has a faster firing speed. Has the same capacity, but the drawback is it takes away 2 of your upgrade slots, and judging from the description, the reload speed must be pretty slow. Alright, let's test it out. Alright, that firing speed is quite faster than the previous 2 Magnums. But yeah, that reload speed is really slow. So you can get into trouble into that if you're not careful. Alright, let's test the 2005 M on Mutant Pedro.
So this is what happens to him.
Alright, so 18 shots from the 2005 M to take down Pedro without hitting any of his weak points. So it's definitely more powerful than the Python, as the game already told us. But it is not as powerful as the Model 329. So I guess after these tests, the Model 329 is the most powerful Magnum in the game. And the regular campaign anyway. So yeah, and I had enough ammo to show how many shots it would take to defeat Pedro this time. Alright, well, that is it for the 2005 M. Alright, now for the first raid mode only Magnum, the Anaconda. I'm pretty sure this is modeled after the real life Colt Anaconda. Alright, let's showcase it and move on. Alright, so it does have a slightly slower firing speed than the previous Magnums we've seen so far. Alright, that is it for the Anaconda. Now for the last Magnum, the legendary Pale Rider from Revelations 1, with the ridiculously long barrel. This is definitely the most powerful Magnum out of all of them in raid mode, and it tops pretty much every single weapon except the anti-material rifle, which I believe is slightly more powerful when compared to the same level at least. Alright, let's showcase the Pale Rider and conclude the Magnums. Alright, so the firing speed is painfully slow, and the capacity is just really low. The only advantage is, it is the most powerful Magnum out of all of them in raid mode. Alright, that is it for the Pale Rider, as well as all Magnums. Alright, now for the only fundamental weapon, which happens to be a bonus weapon, the Bowgun. A crossbow that shoots bolts. Not very powerful, but has unlimited ammo. You unlock this by simply beating the campaign in normal mode. Alright, so nothing to compare it to. Let's go ahead and test it out. Alright, so one thing I would like to say about this is, it's crazy to think that the first time a bowgun was featured in the Resident Evil series was in Resident Evil 2, and it was specific to Claire's scenario. And here she is, 13 years later in the Resident Evil timeline, with the bowgun once again. It's just crazy to think about. Alright, so a little more powerful than a handgun, so I'm gonna step it up. I'm gonna test the bowgun on an iron head. Alrighty, so it takes 6 arrows to take down an iron head with a bowgun, and I tested it at 2 different ranges, so I'm not sure if range matters too much in this game, unlike some previous titles that I've reviewed in the past. But anyway, not much more to say about the bowgun since it is a bonus weapon and it's gonna bring your grade down if you decide to use it. All the bonus weapons are used basically for entertainment purposes only. Well, that is it for the one and only fundamental weapon, the bowgun. Alright, we're at that point. Time for the final weapon. The modern Resident Evil RPG 7 rocket launcher. Renders all enemies powerless. Fires unlimited rockets. The strongest one-shot weapon there is. So, I'm looking at the infinite rocket launcher right now. There is a regular rocket launcher in the game. You can only use it at the very end of the game. How typical. And you use it with Claire. But when you unlock it, you could use it with either character. You unlock the infinite rocket launcher by beating the campaign in any difficulty under 3 hours. They're like totally going back to the classic goal of getting the rocket launcher, to beat the game under a specific time. I'm really glad they brought the infinite rocket launcher back, because Resident Evil 6 was completely absent of it, and it really sucked. Alright, let's test the rocket launcher out. Alrighty then, ultimate destruction. So, I'm gonna do what I normally do with the rocket launcher at the end of my weapon reviews. I'm just gonna test it on a variety of enemies, with the last one being the final boss of the game. So, enjoy the show. And in what better way to conclude the weapon review than with the final explosion of a rocket launcher shot? A lot of Resident Evil titles have ended this way, and this game is no exception. So that concludes my weapon review of Resident Evil Revelations 2. I really hope you enjoyed the video. It's definitely one of the better vids I've made in a while since my Revelations 1 review. Alright, so with this review completed, I have achieved my long goal to review all the weapons in the Resident Evil franchise. There are no more unique games left to do a review on until another brand new game gets developed. Hopefully Resident Evil 7, although that's just pure speculation right now. So I bet you're wondering, what the hell is my next video going to be since I've concluded both the elements of melee moves and weapons for the franchise? Well, even though every game has been covered, it doesn't mean I still can't remake some videos in better quality. One of my much older reviews has been in dire need of a remake, and I've decided to finally go through with it after this review. The game in particular is Resident Evil Code Veronica X. I've had the HD version on my 360 a couple years now, and it's time I scrap the old review and replace it with a much better version. So the next video you will see from me will be Resident Evil Code Veronica X HD weapons review. So look forward to that. Alright, this is Shankster94, aka TheGamerShankster. Rate, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time in the HD weapon review of Code Veronica X. Alright, peace out. Thanks for watching.